Hi, everyone. This is Andy. I'm going to be discussing this week's readings. They were incredibly heavy, I would say, but also relevant, especially for anyone working in education, health, or any student support. So, I want to walk you through few big themes that stood out to me and tie them into our behavior change session and talk a little bit about the nudges and depression more broadly. So, first, talking about the common themes across the readings. One thing that really jumped out to me across both articles is just how widespread mental health challenges are for college students and how early they start. In the WHO World Mental Health Survey, they found that about 20% of all college students had a mental disorder in the past year, and over 80% of those disorders started before the student even got to college. The authors literally say that mental disorders are common among college students and are typically untreated. That's a huge issue when you think about how much pressure students are under academically and socially. Then the second article, the one looking at the PHQ 9 data from 560,000 US students, it shows that depression symptoms have been rising steadily for 15 years. And not just a little. The suicidal ideation increased 153%. Concentration problems, restlessness, and feelings of worthlessness also shot up. And these increases weren't evenly distributed. Women, intersex students, racial minority groups, and students under financial stress saw the steepest rises. So the common thread is pretty clear. Mental health issues among college students are widespread, rising, and unequal. And both articles pointed to the need for early detection and more accessible support. Now, moving on to my perceptions of this week's behavior change session. This week's behavior change session really connected with the readings for me. What stood out was how messy and nonlinear behavior change actually is. Even when someone wants to change, life stress, mental health symptoms, competing minorities, or priorities can completely derail progress. I also noticed how powerful self monitoring is. When clients track their behaviors, even loosely, they start to see patterns they didn't realize were there. That's especially important when you think about the WHO findings that most disorders start before college. Students often don't recognize what's happening until things get overwhelming. And honestly, this session reinforced something simple but important. Small steps matter. People don't need a total life overhaul. They need one or two doable actions that build confidence and momentum. Now, moving on to my thoughts on nudges and behavior change. Nudges are one of my favorite concepts because they make behavior change easier without forcing anything. They're basically small design tweaks that help people make healthier choices by default. In the context of college mental health, nudges could be incredibly useful. For example, automatically scheduling a mental health screening for first year students. Second, sending gentle reminders for physical activity or sleep routines. Another thing could be making counseling center information unavoidable, like embedding it in a course syllabi or student portals, or also structuring campus environments so the easy choice is the healthier one. Given that so many disorders begin before college, nudges could help catch issues earlier or reduce the friction that keeps students from seeking help. Now, moving on to impact of depression on individuals and society and the effective treatments. Depression affects people on multiple levels. For individuals, it can mean difficulty concentrating, low energy, social withdrawal, academic struggles, increased risks of self harm. The WHO article specifically notes that depression, especially when it starts early, is linked to college attrition, particularly for women. For society, the impact is huge. It includes lost productivity, higher healthcare costs, strain on campus mental health systems, widening inequities since marginal groups are hit hardest. And yet, only 16% of students with mental health disorder received treatment in the past year. That's a massive treatment gap. Effective treatments include cognitive behavior therapy, interpersonal therapy, antidepressant medication when appropriate, digital mental health tools, lifestyle interventions like exercise and sleep routines, and early screening and stepped care models. Both articles make it clear that early intervention is key and that we're not just doing enough of it. In closing, so overall this week really highlighted how urgent the mental health situation is for college students. The data shows rising symptoms, early onset, and big disparities. Our behavior change work, especially when impaired with nudges, can play a meaningful role in supporting students before things escalate. Thank you for listening, and I'm looking forward to hearing everyone else's takeaways. Have a great day.